Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Steve Damasco, Grandmaster Steve Damasco Challenge Studios. Today, which is one of the subjects I've talked about many, many times, is bullying. I'm going to bring a different kind of twist to this show today in terms of this subject. And before I get into it, I'm going to show you a clip, a news clip that was featured on Fox News about a brainchild of somebody's, how to combat bullying in a specific school in the United States. So we're going to show you that clip, and then I'm going to talk about it.
Oh, this is going to be juicy. Outraged parents in one Pennsylvania community are pursuing a possible class action lawsuit. It's all over a controversial anti-bullying workshop at West Allegheny Middle School. And for one activity, 8th graders were asked to hold a mask over their face, step into the middle of a circle, and if they had been affected by drugs or alcohol, if someone they were close to identifies as gay, lesbian, or transgender, or if a family member has ever worried about not having enough money, and this is a gem, if they or someone they're close to has ever been in jail. The district says, well, then they had to step into that circle. The district says the opt-out letter was mailed to parents, so kids didn't have to participate. But parents say they wish they would have known what the questions that I just read to you actually were before the workshop.
There is now damage, so much damage that was done to these children, and there's no way to go back and make this better for them.
The district issued a statement saying it stands behind the intentions of the workshop and looks forward to addressing parents' concerns. All right, so think of the visual of this, too. You're walking into a circle, which means you are captive by the things that make you different. That seems especially cruel for a bunch of kids who are trying not to be bullied.
So let me first answer this as a lawyer, and then I'll do it as a parent. As a lawyer, as horrific this isn't really what a class action lawsuit is supposed to be about. A class action lawsuit is when, you know, Tylenol has bad pills in there 100 years ago and they didn't pull them off the shelves fast enough and people got very, very ill. This is a lawsuit about stupidity. As a parent of a 9.5-year-old, I mean, let's all stand. I mean, it's comical. Whose parent's been to jail and is broke? Get in the middle of the room. Like, what the heck is that? How is that helping anybody?
Counselor, is it about stupidity, though? I mean, it seems like it was pretty intentional to go on this fact-finding excavation dig about these children's lives. And, Arthur, I would argue it almost seems like they need a workshop for the teachers because it sounds like bullying what they're doing to these kids.
I think the point is to show everyone's got some issues that they're dealing with, so nobody is so perfect. What they should have said is, who struggles with math? Go in the middle.
Well, why do you even need to handle it?
Who struggles with English?
Thank you.
You're making these kids a target based on the things that they struggle with.
Not only that, they're personal questions. It's none of their business. Those questions were irreprehensible.
Here's how I know, or suspect, I should say, that they knew that something might be bad with this. They didn't tell the parents what the questions.
I have a solution. Pull each kid into an office on their own, ask if there's any problems you'd like to discuss. That's what counselors are for. To Arthur's point, let's talk about math, science, and reading, and what we're really supposed to be doing in school. Yes, there's a problem. Yes, the school says that they're trying to deal with that. There's got to be a better way. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm sure, Arthur, there's a better way.
Of course there is.
And a more legal way to handle this.
I think what they were trying to do, Harris, is they were trying to show all the kids, like, everyone's got a problem. So the perimeter is full, and as each issue gets addressed, more people wind up in the middle until like everybody winds up. Well, that's the ideal of this thing.
If you're the bully, you're going, oh, okay, so I was right.
Well, I mean, look, nobody
I was
needs
picking
bullying.
on so-and-so when they're inside the circle.
Well, Harris, that's such a great point. They're giving the bullies more material.
Right.
Is what they're doing.
That's the whole point.
By basically bullying the kids into turning over more information.
That's the whole point. They said these kids, the parents said kids were leaving the meeting crying. And then anybody in the room that is willing to bully now has more ammunition or has something on a student that they didn't have prior to the meeting. So anyway, ugly situation.
Very, very sad.
Silly.
So legally, do they have a case?
You're going to have to prove what the damages are. So if there's one kid who refuses to go to school anymore, or two or three of them, then you say, okay, you know what? I got to move my child's schooling. There's a doctor who's going to testify as to the psychological and emotional. Correct. There's got to be damage to get money.
Okay.
There are just so many so many things that I want to say about this. As many of you know, I've been working in schools for over 30 years. As a matter of fact, the first school I ever worked in was over 35 years ago, and I was a chief instructor in Concord, New Hampshire, and I was brought into a school because I was working with some kids that had ADD, ADHD, and I got a school call from a school teacher in Concord. And she called me up and said, you know, I can't believe the difference in this kid, you know, that one of my students that have ADD, and we'd love to have you come in and talk to all these kids in my class. It's really interesting because as I've talked and lectured in over 100 schools throughout the United States for the President of the United States and the Secretary of Education, and I reported directly to them, Harvard, Yale, all over the place. And bullying, school violence was my main topic and my main subject, and that's what I talked about. And the woman that invited me into the school for the first time, and more than once, became a very close friend of mine. That was Krista McAuliffe, you know, as you know, the astronaut, that became Teacher of the Year. Wonderful woman, and a close friend. Anyway, God knows if I would have ever done that work to that degree that I have if it wasn't for her. She, as Teacher of the Year, she had great foresight and got me started in that. I wanted to say that about her. That was the most ridiculous. I have seen anti-school, anti-bullying programs all over the United States for many, many years now, and they're ridiculous. They don't work. There are companies out there making millions and millions of dollars. You know, I go into schools, I see this is an anti-bully-free zone. This is a bully-free zone, just like this is a drug-free zone, and, you know, just say no. I mean, really, you know, I've been dealing with this population of kids. I mean, there are very few people in the United States that has had the opportunity to work with more children than myself. I mean, I've been involved in over 500 martial arts schools. I've opened 150 of them in my career, and I've worked with thousands and thousands and thousands of kids over the course of the years of my 45-year career in the martial arts, and I still work with children. So you got to remember that having worked directly with kids, thousands of them over a 45-year period, that I've just witnessed and talked to so many children that have been bullied, and including myself as a child growing up as a kid. I was severely bullied as a little boy growing up in the projects, and my brother had severe dyslexia, who died at the age of 32 of AIDS, and he was severely bullied, having dyslexia and being gay and many other things. And so I mean, firsthand, not only did I lecture all over the country about it and written about it, and you know, I've witnessed it firsthand and personally. So, you know, to see all these companies that are making millions of dollars on programs that haven't worked, and nothing's worked. Nothing has worked. But this, what I just saw here, outraged me. It outraged me. I mean, whoever thought this brainchild up should be, and this was a school district that approved it, I don't blame these parents. If my child was going to that, I would definitely not let this go. This is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. We're going to first humiliate a kid by putting a mask on them, and then we're going to stick them in a circle, and we're going to let them tell them all about the bad things that have happened in their life, their parents' life, their siblings' lives. It's insane. Like they said on Fox News, we're just giving these kids more ammunition to bully. Bullies don't stop. Let's understand this. I was going to write a book. What I'm holding in my hand is about a 15-page proposal. 15 pages that was given a lot of thought and a lot of time. And it's called, the name of the book would have been, if I decide to write it, which I'm not sure I'm going to do, it's called Bullying, A War on Social Terrorism. That's what I named it, Bullying, A War on Social Terrorism, because that's exactly what it is. Let me give you the definition of terrorism. The use of violence and threats to intimidate or coerce. Interesting. The use of violence and threats to intimidate and coerce. Okay? Now, terrorism, we know it as a very different thing. Okay? But what is the bullying that we know that kids are dealing with in school? Violence and threats. The state of fear and submission produced by terrorism, or the state of fear and submission. Same thing. That's what these kids have to deal with every day. That's what I had to deal with. That's what my brother had to deal with. My sisters had to deal with it. It's incredible. Think about this. This is 2016. This issue has been going on. Kids have committed suicide. It's at an all-time high. Every single school shooting that we've had in this country, other than the one, because that's one I dealt with and talked about in schools all over the country, how to set up teams so that they could try to prevent this. Because every single kid, two things were prevalent in those school shootings, every single thing. Two things. One, they told somebody else they were going to do it. Nobody took them seriously. Two, they had been severely bullied. Not the only factor. Mental illness, I'm sure, was involved. There was a lot of other factors. But let me go over that again. One, they had been severely bullied. And two, they had told somebody else that they were going to do it. Now, how are we going to deal with this? 2016, I can't tell you how many teachers I still talk to. How many kids, how many parents I still talk to that are being bullied every day. Teachers witness this every single day in their schools, every single day, and there's nothing they can do about it. What are they going to do? They can stop it, send them to the office. Nobody wants to report it because nothing gets done. Kids don't want to report it because nothing's going to get done. Kids don't feel safe in school. The bullies are fine, the victims are not. 1 in every 5 Americans will commit a serious, young Americans, excuse me. 1 in every 5 young Americans, these are up-to-date statistics because these are some of the things I was going to put in my book. 1 in 5 young Americans will commit a serious violent crime by the age of 18. Over 250,000 teachers, okay, are assaulted every day. I can't tell you how many kindergarten teachers I've talked to this year, well, last year, okay, that told me that they were attacked by 5-year-old little kids in school. Attacked. Usually when they say no, they can't do something. 6,000 teachers are threatened with bodily harm in U.S. schools every single week. Now, I can't read you this whole proposal, but what I can do is I can read to you, which nobody has seen yet. I can read to you what some of the process was. I'm still baffled. I'm still amazed that a school district, I just cannot believe that they allowed that to happen and the damage that was done with something like that. It is just unbelievable. It's just incredible to make a kid put on a mask, get into the middle of a circle, and have to tell the things that they would do about their families and themselves, and it's just I can't even really speak well right now because every time I see this video, this Fox News video, it's just so upsetting to me. You know, it's just so upsetting. So I'm going to give you some ideas on what can be done. One, I had a 9-step process. First step was educate all school personnel on all forms of bullying. What do I mean? And the victims. Educate all school personnel on all forms of bullying and the impact it has on victims. Okay? Because I had got paid several times to talk to school districts when I was working for the president of the U.S. Department of Education, when there was an incident where a victim, you know, somebody got really hurt and beat up, or there was one case in New York where a kid almost got killed by another sports team for an initiation. They had me come in and do workshops with the teachers, the parents, and a blown-out lecture. You know, it was amazing that I said, I asked if kids did this, and this, and I named off a bunch of things, and they said yes. Well, I said, do you bully? And they said no. And then when I named off 3 or 4 other things, and they said, yeah, we do that. They didn't even know what bullying was. They didn't realize that what a clear definition of bullying was. And I don't think that there's a lot of people out there in the education world that understands all the things that are entailed in what bullying is. Okay, even kids don't. Kids need to be educated too. They don't realize that exclusion is bullying. When little kids, how many times it breaks your heart as a parent when you see your son or your daughter, your little daughter go up into a kid. I can't tell you how many times I watched Gianni do that. Gianni would never let it go. He was unusual out of the 3 boys, but he would go up and it breaks your heart and he goes, hey, do you want to play? We bring him to a playground and play. No. You want to play with me? No. That's called exclusion. It's a form of bullying. It makes other kids feel really bad and less about themselves, and it's amazing what impact they have on them. Johnny was just an unusual kid, and just somehow, I don't know how he did it, he'd wind up playing with those kids, but most kids will just shy away and walk away. The second thing we did was educate all school personnel on how to identify and communicate with bullies. And what do I mean by all personnel? When I was lecturing around the country on the school violence with the school shootings, okay, there were a lot of things that go on in the hall, you know, in schools, in the hallways around. It involved everybody from the school teachers to the janitors to literally every personnel that worked inside that school, okay, had to be involved in communication, okay, and a reporting system. Because the janitor, believe it or not, probably knows and hears more, okay, about what goes on with those kids in school than even the teachers do. So everybody involved. At school resource officers, I was a big advocate of school resource officers around the country. But they have to be special people that get picked for that job and trained well just specifically for that job. Big advocate of that. So again, that's another part of the anti-bullying program that I developed. The next one, educate all school personnel, I already said that. Educate all students on all forms of bullying and the impact it has on the victims and the students in school. Number 4, create a this is really important too, create a non-threatening, non-intimidating reporting system. Okay? Think about that. A non-intimidating reporting system, because other kids are afraid to report other kids, okay, about what they're doing to other kids because they don't want to be a victim and they don't want to be singled out. Next, educate students to report and interject when witnessing a bullying. Very difficult to do, but it can be done. Implement a 3-step consequent process. This is probably the most important one of the more important things out of all of them, is implement a 3-step consequences for bullying. What I meant by that was this. I'm not going to read them all. It's too long. This was probably one of the most important things. The only way that you're going to get these kids to stop doing this is that if there's consequences involved. You can talk about anti-bullying all day long, okay? You can come up with all kinds of programs, educate the teachers, educate the parents, educate the school administrators. It's the bully. The product in business, the product is the bully, okay? That's the kid that you have to deal with. Kids want to feel safe. What do they want? They want to feel safe. The victims are not feeling safe in school. And it doesn't make any difference whether you're skinny, small, beautiful. So many beautiful kids get bullied. If you're not so beautiful, it doesn't make any difference what you look like, what nationality you are, what religion you have, what size you are. They will find something. And they do, trust me. So the 3-step process means a consequence. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but it was really simple to give it to you simply. 1 was a warning with counseling. 2 was another warning with counseling and another consequence tied to it. I'm not going to go through it all. 3, if it happened again, suspension. Boom, you're out. You're out. You're done. You're out of school. Now, why won't schools do that? Because I can't begin to tell you. There's one specific incident that I know about, not an incident, several. I can't tell you this past year, about a 5-year-old kid that I specifically know about in a school here in New Hampshire, and I will absolutely not tell you what school or what district, okay, physically attacked a teacher and a kid every single week, more than 1 time per week. Every single time. And everybody that was legally supposed to be called was called. This happened several weeks in advance. And they have a policy for that kid should have been suspended. Not once was that kid suspended. And it happened every single week. Physically attacking teachers and physically attacking and hitting other kids. They don't want to deal with lawsuits because as soon as something like that happens, boom, the parents are in there screaming and yelling, and then there's a lawsuit. We are in really, really bad shape. And now let's talk about all the issues that go on in school with the bullying, okay, with kids with special needs that need help, okay, all of these things. How do you think kids are getting educated, okay, that aren't giving the teachers any problems? Because the teachers' attentions, the school administrators have their attention taken away from with all the problems that they have to deal with, and then the kids that are there that don't have well, let me say, the problems that some of the other kids have, it's very difficult to educate them. We're in a mess. I hate to be a downer, I really do. It's not my style, but we're definitely in a mess. You know, unless we do something, okay, we really do something, and I'm willing to work on this. I mean, I wrote a whole proposal, a whole book based on this, okay? But no one's called me, no one's emailed me, no school administrators brought me in. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. They come up with stuff like this that you just saw. They spend millions of dollars to send teachers to workshops. What good does it do to send a teacher to a workshop, pay millions of dollars all over the United States, multiply that times every single school in the country to go to workshops on this when the victim is the kid and the product is the bully? And nothing's being done. And remember, I have karate schools all over the country. Parents all over the country are at their end. They say nothing's being done. Nothing. So having said that, I got about 3 minutes. 5 minutes left. I want to talk about a little bit of martial arts because I didn't do it in the last show. So you know what? I got this stuff on YouTube. I got this stuff on Facebook. Someone should get a hold of me. We need to do something about this, and I'm willing to help. Thank you. Ready? Got about 5 minutes. Come on out, Jeff. Okay? I do have 5 minutes. Okay, what I want to talk about today a little bit, okay, is elbow strikes, okay? Usually what motivates me to do certain things are what I see. Like I'll see something in a karate magazine or a national magazine. So and that's what motivates me to do the show, and this is what motivates me to do something in the martial arts, okay? I've talked about sinking the body weight, and I've talked about not going above shoulder level. Okay, I saw again a national magazine where they were calling it Krav Maga. Okay, I know the Israelis because I train people down at a military facility with a massage train. Okay, that are really the real deal, that are really Israeli trained, and you know, and they know how to do this stuff. But it was supposed to be a Krav Maga technique, and I don't know what it was, but anyway, they were showing a woman being attacked like with a front choke, and they had to break the hold, which would be almost impossible to do like this because a guy that grabs a woman around the throat going to be hard to do that, and then they had to do an elbow strike like this. Okay. Let me tell you how effective that is. Number one, they're never going to get the hands off the neck by doing this. Number two is, I don't care whether you're a guy or a woman, when you throw an elbow strike, okay, first of all, it's not the first thing you should ever throw. Anybody that attacks you, okay, their adrenaline is up, which means that their strength, okay, is obviously much more intense, and their ability to absorb pain is much higher, okay? So that's what happens when your adrenaline is high. You know, think about when you get really, really mad at something. You feel like Superman or Superwoman. Usually you are when you get that mad. Well, the same thing happens when you get attacked, or the person that's attacking you. So the first thing you want to do when somebody has your hands on, you want to go to a vulnerable part of the body. Okay? So for me, I want to hit something that's going to make a difference. So boom, I'm going to go here. Okay? Then I'm going to hit him in the throat. Now, you see this? You see this? This will fit into anybody's throat. So you see what I did? I locked my arm, I went directly here, boom, and I then went into Jeff's throat. Okay, now I know I'm talking about the elbow, but I'm just showing you a technique that could do something. And then, bang, I can kick the knee and I can walk away. The whole idea of this is to get away. So if I wanted to do a technique, I wouldn't do all three techniques because, again, you'd have to be good to get all three techniques off. But what would I do? I would hit to the throat, bang, okay, I kick the knee, boom, and I get away. That's a nice little technique for somebody that gets, you know, a woman that gets grabbed, okay? And you kick the side, don't kick straight on because your foot is only this wide here, and you got all of this wide. So when I kick to the knee, I went sideways, kick so that I don't miss, and I walk away. Now, let me talk about the elbow. The only way the elbow is going to work, if you decide to use an elbow, which again is not something I really use. You have to be really strong, and you have to hit the right area, okay? Because all of this for a guy, okay, is all meat, okay? You're not going to do any damage here, okay? If the only way that, even with Jeff, I would never, and Jeff is taller than me, but not that much taller. Even me, myself, as a 10th degree black belt, would not throw an elbow to the face. Why? Because it's above my shoulder. I have to lift my shoulder, which means that the only power that I can generate would be the speed of my elbow, my arm, okay, and the strength of this muscle. That's it. Because I can't deliver body weight. Anything above my shoulder weight. The only place I can deliver body weight would be right here. You can clearly see that. Okay? And again, I wouldn't hit him this way either. For me, if I'm going to use an elbow, it's going to come up like this. Boom, and I'm going to go into the solar plexus. But again, the only way that I'm going to do it, so Jeff, come at me with your hands. Go ahead. Boom. Bang. Boom. You see? Now again, that's not going to be my first strike. If I'm going to use an elbow, it'd be bang, strike, bang, and that's it. Or it would come up like this. But again, the point I'm trying to make here is that the only way an elbow would work is that it doesn't come above your shoulder. It has to come below your shoulder. Below your shoulder, so that when you hit, watch me do it slow. Put your hand down. I'm going to drop my weight, and I hit. Boom. So it comes below your shoulder. Anything from the shoulder and above has absolutely no power in it whatsoever, unless you're built like this big. And I don't think if you're built like this big, I don't think anybody's grabbing you by the neck. All right? Thank you. Thanks for watching.